Hey, hello. Habari sana, habari mwenzangu, habari kakangu. How are you, my friend? I'm seated here, waiting to go officiate a few games here in downtown Portland. So if you're having a great view of today's narrative, of today's episode, enjoy the view. For those who are not familiar, this is the downtown side of Portland. And you are looking at the Willamette River just behind me. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I want to visit with you again, as I do every other time. I like to zoom in on some areas in athletics as usual. And this episode number 57. I'm losing track of these things because I really get excited about talking to you, honestly. And I'm really happy that you're subscribing. I'm happy that you are liking what you see. And I think 1 or 2 episodes ago, if you are very keen on nature, you must have been excited to see that there was a creature that was spying on me. And I think he was a Russian spy. I'll leave it at that. Okay? The Russians are coming. I can't blame it on Russia. It was a beautiful creature. I enjoy the company. And by the way, if you didn't know, I wasn't even aware there was an owl behind me. Lo and behold, my wife zoomed in on that video and told me, "Did you know?" And I said, "No, I just spoke in tongues, talking about 5 senses." And that's the way we are. We are oblivious to what's surrounding. That was me. I'm confessing here that it was prophetic, but yet there you have it, boys and girls. I was exposed. One beautiful day, lovely evening, and yeah, let me give you a more view so that you can appreciate before I do some of the transmit. There's the road and everything else. Okay, way back up there is OHSU. Somebody who works for that hospital, they know themselves. And that bridge right there leads to my favorite radio station, all classical music, right behind me. So I'm by OMSI, for those who are curious. It's a scientific museum place for young kiddos to go and enjoy themselves. Hey, that's 2 minutes into telling people who I am. So, with this episode, I want to finish up on something I started and it's been bugging me. Something that you wrestle with and you realize maybe I'm being overcritical, I'm taking it too far, but I don't think I am. If you hear any sounds in the background, it's not me. I'm sitting in a kind of a busy place. Anyway, sorry for all that, but hope you can hear me clearly. So, yeah, I'm a student of Kenya Athletics, and I've confessed in my episodes that because of Kenya Athletics that I'm here, and it was because I took running seriously, and it propelled me to come to America, and so I'm invested. I'm truly invested. I found out that I have a passion that is deeper than I thought, and so I'm gonna zoom in on Kenya Athletics per se. So this morning, I usually read newspapers from Kenya, and I found a very interesting construct coming out of the government and the Kenyan Athletic Association that their budget has been squeezed, their budget has been cut. The budget had to do with drug enhancing programs or anti-drug enhancing programs in Kenya. If anybody is keeping tabs on keeping Kenya in the radar, we are blacklisted as a country for doping. We've been found wanting over the years. I think in Brazil, we barely got our athletics even to participate because we were blacklisted. And so when the government decides to cut the budget, it doesn't bode well, does it? It doesn't bode well at all. But that's where we are. We have that if the government decides, well, we don't have money, and so we're going to cut the budget. And they did. And that will affect the athletics world moving forward. I don't know in what way, but but it's always negative. We don't have the funding to promote the ideals of athletics and transparency. And Kenya as a country have known struggles with transparency. I think we have issues that are plaguing us. Our values have been compromised over the years. It starts from the top all the way to the bottom now. I think it's a disease, it's a plague, it's a pandemic that now when people look at athletes from Kenya, they don't see them as genuine performers. Everybody is almost saying, well, how true is it that Faith Kipyegon, Lady Kipchoge, are not having any compromises or any doping in their system that makes them run that fast? So we have to almost protect our integrity or speak to our integrity and our reputation. So that's where we are. And so the last regime or the last government decided to take the war to the drug lords, the infiltrators of sports in Kenya by educating athletes on the values and what they call clean sport. The idea of purging drugs in sport. In athletics, I don't know how that has worked, because the fact that the funding is being held back by this government tells you where we are as a country. We are struggling economically, and that might affect athletes per se. So I don't know how we move forward from where we are, but I don't think we're in a good place as a country when it comes to transparency, when it comes to accountability, when it comes to reputation. And so I bring that up because it's part of what I was talking about yesterday, trying to expound on why I am suspecting that the trend, this trajectory of Kenya athletics doesn't look glorious. It doesn't. I don't think I'm just saying it's a doom. I'm not saying it's going to be obsolete. But I'm saying that I don't think the trajectory and the way things are being done at the moment is sustainable. I don't think I'm the only one saying that. Because if you look at where we are as a people, we've lost our way. I think we've taken for granted time that we have succeeded. People talk high of Kenyans, but talking high of Kenyans is not enough. Just because we have raw material doesn't mean the raw material is going to be there for as long as we think it's going to be there. I talked of mining. You can only mine raw material for so long before they become obsolete. And I think Kenyans, that's where we are. We are facing obsolete. We are having a depletion of our natural resources, environmentally, and even talent-wise. I think we're exporting. We have brain drain. I talked about in one of my episodes. We might even have athletic drain. If that is a new phrase I might use. I'm just concerned. I think I'm concerned because if you look at the top athletes we have right now, there are very few. There are very few that make headlines, and that is not a trend you want in a country. You want a broad-based system that can have a garden or a harvest that adds value to their product, which I talked about yesterday. And Kenya hasn't been doing that. I think we've been spinning the same wheel. We've been doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, or even something, or even just I don't know what we expect. Because if we spin the same wheel, what we expect, we're going to expect almost the same results, or it plateaus. And I think we've plateaued even to a point whereby if you look at the last Olympics, I don't know who has taken what we call post-mortem Kenya athletics. Who has done evaluate where what we accomplished and what were expectations in Kenya into the Paris Olympics. I don't know. Am I the only one curious? Am I the only one interested in that? I could be. But again, it's just for me to ask those questions. It's for me to try to understand that if we don't change, and at adapt. I think, I don't know, people who don't change perish. And I think Kenya is at that crossroad of we either change or we perish. And I think changing means taking pride in what we have and protecting it and making sure that we are truly invested in it, not just politically or tribal basis, but as a country. And I don't think we are there yet. I think some of these things that we see after the Olympics is rewarding athletes, politicizing athletes, taking them to these crazy, glamorous dinners. And then what? What is next for those athletes? What is the future? What have we improved on? Let me ask you a question as a Kenyan. So if you are in Mombasa and you want to be an athlete, where do you go? If you're in Turkana and you want to run, where do you go? You see what I'm talking about? The infrastructure in Kenya is not national based. It's regional, it's ethnic, and it's a problem. And I think I'm bringing this up because we need to broaden our infrastructure. We need to invest in the infrastructure. Yes, some athletes like Lona Kiplangat, who was building a facility in E10, is a great thing, but the location is not for all Kenyans, and most Kenyans cannot afford those facilities. Schools, how are the infrastructures in schools that can continue to promote athletes and see that they grow and find a future? The fact that we are even cutting budgets when it comes to these areas that I'm really concerned about, that we might end up in the wrong side of history when it comes to integrity and reputation. In Russia, the Russian athletes have been exiled because of doping. Do we want to go there as a country? Is that where we want to go? I don't know. It seems as if we are not taking these things seriously. And I think by saying seriously is that it should be in the headline. It should be something we are wrestling with and trying to figure out how we can make sure that our reputation of athletes are clean, that they are not compromised by agents or by greed. And I'm talking about greed. I think what we are seeing in athletics, when it comes to doping, is a sign tale of the country in decay. It's an indictment, I can just pronounce it, that we have lost our way in Kenya. And I think it's about time we just call it what it is. When we think our hygiene, our athletic hygiene has been compromised, and I think it's about time we get vaccinated. I think we need hygiene vaccination to reclaim our place in the athletic world. And I'm speaking for somebody who truly believes that we can redeem ourselves if we have the captain, Faith Kipyegon of this one, Eric Kipchoge of this one, the cool zone-like Beatrice Chebet of this one, the new face in Faith Cherotich. If we have these athletes believing that they can be the next faces in athletics, we as spectators, people who find beauty in this sport, we should be having a conversation that enhances and empowers and improves. Because if we are not improving, then what are we doing? I think that's the question I'm asking you. Because the other thing I want to bring on the agenda today in my episode, that I sound to be ranting a little bit. I don't think I am. I think I'm just speaking to the truth here a little bit, if I may say. But again, yesterday or the other day I talked of what's the truth, and I found myself wanting to. So, the other area I think Kenya needs to work on is PR. What do I mean by that? How do we use the platforms that have been put in place to self-promote? How do we do that? Because I've noticed one thing with Kenyans, other than a few, they're not using the social platform, the TikTok or this one. I'm not saying just to rant and to showcase how good looking, which is okay. but speaking to some issues, speaking to who you are, because when you become a brand, you need to sell the brand. You need to let people know who you are. Mary Buki, the distance runner, lady who won the half marathon in North Race in England, she's a socialite. She's really exploited the social media that has given her a bigger voice. She might not be as great an athlete, but she has great personality. So we need to have a presence in these platforms so that we can have people will know. People will know. Jakob Enquisten, as I told you, he might not win. He might even drop out of a race, but the conversation is about Jakob Enquisten because he is a character. I'm not saying everybody has that ability. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying Kenyans need to have better PR, a better way of presenting themselves, work on the language, work on being able to take an interview to another level. I think this platform for me, I found out that I might stretch myself that to kind of find a few Kenyans. And I'm just giving out a shout to Kenyans. Use this platform talking about what you're doing. People need to know because that's the way you add value to your brand. So that people know when you go somewhere, people are like, hey, Eliud Kipchoge, because Eliud Kipchoge, when he comes to Nike, the whole place shuts down. There's a God campus. That has come with a lot of work for him. I think he has a good manager, he has a good coach, they are well spoken, and when Kipchoge speaks, people listen. I think Kenyans need to work on that. So those are the areas I was going to bring up today. It's a conversation I think is worth engaging ourselves in. Our doping scandals and our doping, the other fact we're not clean anymore is what is a concern, should be a concern to many Kenyans. The infrastructures are being compromised. We have Kasarani, Nyayo, Kipchoge Keino in Eldoret. Where else do we have a stadium? Iten, with Lorna, where she has a track that she personally invested. I don't know what kind of support she got from the government. But do we have even a track in Kisumu? I remember racing in Kisumu. Do we have a track there? I don't know. I'm just asking. The infrastructures, Kisii, Bosongo, Obukungu Stadium, which I know has a good football stadium. I'm just saying I think Kenya needs to really, they cannot speak the same way. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. We cannot say the same thing over and over again. We need to rethink, think outside the box. The one is closing in on us. We've been found wanting the last Olympics. I keep saying. So in this episode, that's all I was going to emphasize. Just hanging out, and I have those thoughts to share with you guys. And again, behind me, I hope there's no owl. I'm looking right now. There's no owl howling at me. It's a beautiful thing to talk to you guys, and I enjoyed it. I hope what I share here kind of makes you see or hear something different, or maybe if you want to continue commenting at the bottom. If you're an athlete that is interested in talking about athletics, great. I want to talk to you. But again, I hope Kenyans does not take away things that are improving. Instead, they should just keep putting more into the infrastructure of athletics. That's my hope. But again, this could be a hope. It could be just a hope. Because I have hope in you too.